Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a whole new episode of Full Steam Ahead. I'm your host, Zoe, with my other guy, H-Town, 4th of July. How you doing over there, Angel?
Good, good. We're keeping it real over here in Houston. How's New York?
Yep, I'm in New York for the weekend. Well, really for the whole week, actually. This is the second time I'm recording out here. Pretty cool, actually. Something new coming out of Houston, going to the biggest city in the world, apparently in America, at least. But who wants to talk about that right now? We want to talk about Astros baseball. I mean, the Astros go to Arlington, Southern Oklahoma, and they win 3 out of 4. And that's what the Astros needed to do in order to get back into that AL West race for the division. There's so much. Offense did good. Pitching was rocky. But of course, the guys haven't had a day break since a day off, actually, since the St. Louis series. Coming back to Houston, they're not going to have a day off until the All Star break. So you got to understand that with the pitching situation. But offensive wise, it was phenomenal. I mean, Tucker. We'll talk about the shout outs in a minute. Angel, I want to give you and tell me how you feel about this series. Give me that one word, describe this series.
It was a stellar series for the Astros. They took 3 out of 4 against the Rangers, who are top of the AL West. So they cut the lead in half to 3, which is the lowest point they've been since, I believe, June. So it's a great overall. I think as Astros fan, like for the Astros fans, you should be pretty good about yourself, about where the Astros are at. Like this was the toughest road trip yet, and they won the series in St. Louis. They won the series in Arlington, and now you got the Rockies and the Mariners who haven't fared so well. So the Rangers have lost 10 out of the last 15 games, and the Astros are only 3 games back. So things are looking good for Astros fans.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, we're going to call this episode 107. I need you to introduce the episode. It was a Lone Star shootout, to be honest with you. I
Mhm.
mean, both teams being very competitive in that last game of the series. I mean, the Astros were up 10-2. And honestly, dude, I was looking at my updates on my phone. I was like, oh, yeah, it looks like the Astros are going to run away with this, but not so fast. The Rangers, real quick. I mean, just slowly moving up through the innings and catching up and being able to take that lead in the eighth. It was gut wrenching to see that on my phone. I see how the Rangers, up 11-10. But I mean, like I was saying, the Astros offense just continued on and just find a way each and every time. So, like I said, this was a Lone Star shootout. But like you were saying too, the Astros are going to be facing the
Yeah.
Rockies and then the Mariners before the All Star break. The Rangers, on the other hand, will face the Boston Red Sox and the Washington Nationals until they head out to Seattle. So I say a little fair. Maybe the Red Sox could help out the Astros and kind of cut that lead 3 games back, but we'll have to see about that. But Angel, I mean, shout outs, baby. We got to give them out to the Astros players that performed very well this series. And there was a bunch of them, honestly. Like I was saying, I was going to say, Tucker and other people and such like that. But I mean, come on, start off for us, Angel. Who you got?
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing where it could have been any type of guy. I know we had Kyle Tucker as our player of the game for yesterday's game, but again, it could have been anybody. But let's start with Chas McCormick. He came
Mhm.
in the clutch, 6 for 13 with a triple, 1 home run, and 6 RBIs. He had a go-ahead triple Sunday to um, give the Astros the lead. And then a little fun fact: career with bases loaded. You want Chas McCormick on the plate, 6 for 11. He doesn't have any grand slams, but 17 RBIs. And then in
Wow.
the ninth inning, he also made a diving catch to help the Astros seal the victory against the Rangers. So my question to you, though, I know Dusty and management for the Astros have been platooning Jake Myers and Chas McCormick in that center field spot, and when they're both in the lineup, Jake Myers has been giving priority in center field. So my question to you is: this center field platoon over? Has Chaz done enough to be the lone center fielder for the Astros?
I mean, honestly, I feel like he has deserved it. I mean, I think honestly too, in the beginning of the season, he deserved it from that performance he had in the postseason. But of course, you're gonna have a platoon out there, and there. I mean, Jake Myers, and then of course Corey Jokes. He could play Mauricio Dubon in center field too as well. But I mean, Chas McCormick, this series just kind of showed not just Dusty Baker, but the whole organization like, hey, I got this locked down. I'm here for the reason. Y'all put me in that World Series game for a reason. All those other facts that you want to put into play. I mean, 263 slash line, 341, 4081 with a 822 OPS. So this guy needs to be in the lineup every day. Honestly, this is my opinion. I don't know what you're going to say after I, give the mic to you, but I think he deserves it 100%. I mean, he's done fantastic job in center field. Playing on the offensive end and then plus on the defensive end. I mean, he's had unbelievable catches this season, of course. So I 100% agree that this guy needs to have more playing time in center field. Go ahead and let me know what you think.
No, I agree with you 100%. You're gonna hit the nail in the coffin there, where Chas McCormick is the guy. Like how you were saying, he's
Mhm.
proved it in the World Series in the postseason. He's proved it early on, and he's just been consistent and taking advantage of every opportunity he gets to play. I feel like there hasn't been a game where you see Chaz give up in an at bat or, jog to first base or do anything like that. I feel like he goes out there, grinds with her like each day out to prove that he deserves to be on the field. Now, I think out of all the outfielders, because I know Daniel Brown's making an emphasis that hey, there's a lot of outfield that I think Chaz is
Mhm.
like the safest bet to stay with the Astros. Like he's been the most like
Yeah.
consistent. Like I'm not saying anything like that. Jake Myers or
Yeah,
Corey
nothing
Brooks.
negative about
Yeah,
them. Nothing like that.
like I'm not saying like they haven't been consistent, but they all three of them have. But
Hmm.
I don't know. I think Chas McCormick is just you know pushing himself above those two other guys. And I mean, my opinion, I think Jake Myers goes at the trade deadline. I think they run with Jokes and Chaz, but I think is the safest to keep, like to stay with the Astros.
I mean, not just that. I mean, 6 for 13 this series. That's just under 400 under a 500 batting average. And then, you showed that little fun fact right there. 6 for 11 with zero grand slams. That grand slam was almost like it was just inches away from being a grand slam, being his first. 17 RBIs too. I mean, you got to find a way to put this guy into the lineup because he is hitting very well for the Astros, especially like you were saying, he's been very consistent for them. But another guy that's been consistent right now this whole road trip is Mr. Kyle Tucker, King Tug himself. I mean, he's been doing a great job out there in right field as a defender, and then plus in the offensive end. I mean, he's looked fantastic. 8 for 16 this series with a double, 2 home runs, 6 RBIs, 1 walk, and had that big salami on Monday that
Yeah,
helped the Astros continue on their lead through the game. So, I mean, King Tug just showing up and doing what he needs to do. I mean, he did a really great road trip too. I think there was a tweet that McTaggart had said that he was hitting over 400, I believe. But I mean, when you have a average like that this series, 8 for 16, that's that's mind blowing right there, and that's what you need from a guy like that. With the big man being Jordan Alvarez out of the lineup, so credit to Kyle Tucker and even Jose Abreu. A little mini shout out to him. He didn't make our shout out list, but very great job on his end. But talking about the offensive end, let's give some love to the pitching, my man. I mean, Sean Dubin, I got to shout him out, dude.
yeah,
Gets optioned the next day, which we'll talk about a little roster moves later on through the show. But his first career start, he's never started in the big leagues at all. Maybe in spring training, but MLB wise, in the regular season, never. And he did a great job for a staff that's dealing with injuries, with a lot of bullpen players being taxed. I mean, he did a great job. 4 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts. He only threw 68 pitches, 39 being them strikes. Of course, you just got to tip your cap. And I mean, it was like we said, it was probably going to be a bullpen game, and that's what it was. He did what he could, and he did a fantastic job given that up next to Parker Mashinsky and then the rest of the bullpen. So credits to Sean Dubin, even though he did get optioned, like we said, we'll talk about that in a minute on the Astros roster updates. But shout my man out right there, and hopefully he does a great going back to Sugarland.
yeah. And like he didn't get option for a bad thing. He just got option to
Yeah,
bring up a fresh arm to the Astros rotation again. Lorenzo will give you who's starting and what's not, but it's just to get a fresh arm in the bullpen. But shout out to Mauricio Dubon as well. I think he's made the case for Mr. Utility Man, and honestly, I think he made a strong case for the All Stars. Like I'm
yeah,
surprised he wasn't in there.
a writing at least.
yeah, for sure. He went 4 for 14 this series with two doubles, three RBIs, two walks. gave the Astros a lead on Friday with a double, and then ties the game on Sunday with a double. And it's been coming up clutch. And
Mhm.
what surprised me about that Sunday game is he pulled the ball and it went a long way. Like typically Dubon's an oppo, down center field hitter, but he he has shown that he has a little pop in that bat, and he's been pretty good.
It's almost like Chas McCormick too. If that you remember when you're saying that go ahead RBI double in that last game. I mean, he starts pulling the ball too. So that I mean, that's great to see from both guys too. That you can hit it not just poolside as a right-handed hitter, but you can take it the other way. And Dubon and McCormick have done a great job at doing that, being consistent, not just pulling it, but going the other way with it more than anything.
Yeah, and they both been great so far. Not just this series, but the entire season as well. But
Hmm.
speaking of some fantastic job that the Astros have done, we also have some injury updates. As you know, this has been an injury plague season for the Astros, and we didn't see Pena this season at all. So,
Hmm.
what
This
happened with
series.
Pena this series? Yeah, sorry.
Hmm.
Um, what happened with Pena? This is per Brian McTaggart. He is dealing with a stiff neck on Friday. He was listed day to day. Monday, Pena was taking grounders at shortstop in Arlington. I think I feel like he needs to get a softer pillow out there. I don't think those Arlington hotel did him justice with that one. But
He
no,
might need to get that My Pillow kind of that commercial that shows out all the time around midnight.
no, yeah. So I feel like there's nothing to worry there. Everybody goes through it. Just a stiff neck. Like it's kind of hard to hit with it because like as you're hitting, your head kind of twists a little bit, so it can be kind of like discomforting for that. But
Hmm.
again, this is where having a guy like Mercer Dubon is just a bonus for the Astros, where your starting shortstop is dealing with a minor injury like that. You're not really worried because you have Dubon who can just take up his spot. So
Yeah.
um, I expect him to be fully healthy, the Colorado series or maybe even in Seattle, but there's no worry for that one. But the one that has this injury has the Astros fans, and even just the baseball world in general, like kind of on their like heels, where you just kind of don't know what's going on. Is Framber Valdez? The Astros skip Valdez is turned into rotation after he sprained his right ankle against the Mets. It affected him in St. Louis. The Astros hope he can make one more start before the All Star break. So what happened was that it was the right ankle soreness was the diagnosis. Framber said he could pitch Thursday on Friday this week. Do we know what happened of how he sprained it? Is there like a story behind that?
No,
No.
I don't know. There's no story really. I'm guessing when he's going up the steps, of course, going up the steps off the dugout to the mound. That's the only logical kind of opinion I could figure out. Maybe I
Yeah.
highly doubt maybe going down the stairs. It'd probably be anything just going up. So I mean,
Yeah.
hopefully it's not nothing too serious though. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah. I don't think it's anything serious because if it were, I feel like he would be in the IL already, especially since the All Star break's coming up.
Mhm.
So why risk it? So I think he should be ready to go, especially if you see him pitching against Seattle, then he's good to go because I don't think the Astros would put him out there if he wasn't healthy, taking into account all the injuries they had. So I do expect Framber Valdez to make that start before the All Star break. Which, if he does pitch before the All Star break, then that means he's not pitching in the All Star game. So it's just,
M- Maybe
ma-
one inning, I
you
would
think so?
think.
You think
Maybe,
so?
maybe one. It just depends on Framber how he feels. I feel like Baker will give him that opportunity at the All Star break. It just depends on Framber on how he feels. I feel
Yeah.
that's my opinion. I just think.
And then Framber is fortunate that Dusty and all the Astro staff will be in attendance for the All Star game. They will be coaching, so they kind of know more of how he's fitting. But
Mhm.
I feel the person you've been wanting to get back in the Astros lineup is Jordan Alvarez. So Saturday, Alvarez was sprinting around the bases. Sunday, Alvarez said he started taking BP in the cage and then swinging at 60% intensity. And then on Monday, Alvarez participated in outfield drills. So again, those oblique injuries are tricky, but good signs coming from Jordan Alvarez. I think maybe after the All Star break, you think he's ready? What do you think?
That's what I was gonna ask you if you think if he's gonna be prepared for that series coming after the break. I think he could honestly. Maybe If it depends. I think he could be on a rehab stint at that time when the boys are going out there. I don't know who they're going to be playing as soon as they get off the All Star break, or it could just be that series he's already ready and prepared. Because I think during the All Star break, there are some minor league games happening, and maybe
Uh,
he could have his rehab by then. So it just depends.
yeah, and I can say 100% Alvarez isn't playing on the in the All Star game, even though he was nominated for it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Again, it's better. I feel like Dusty Baker and his crew want him to be healthy anyway, so I don't think they're gonna risk him out. But an Astro that's kind of concerning at this point. It's concerning to me as well. I'm not sure about you, but Astros fans should be concerned about is Michael Brantley. So Saturday, Brantley was sprinting around the bases. Per Channel Rome, Brantley has increased his workload or kind of plateaued a little bit. And this was Baker's response. I'm sorry, that was Rome's question. Has Brantley increased his workload or kind of plateaued a little bit? And this was Baker's response. He's plateaued somewhat. We want to increase it, but then we don't want him to go backwards either. I'd rather have it plateau for a while than increase it. So it's just I don't know. I think it's just age and that shoulder and not trying to rush him back. It's just like it's looking less and less likely that Michael Brantley could be ready this season. I think at this point, he's been
Yeah,
do, doing the same things over and over again, which is good, right? As part of the rehab, of doing the same things until that like whatever's hurting you gets better. But at this point, it's the midway of the season. There's about 2 months before the playoffs. Like it's looking
not just
concerning
that,
for
but I mean,
Astros.
they got to be pushing for the playoffs as well. I mean, they're gonna have to go after another bat. I think even if Brantley is healthy or not, you gotta have to. I mean, you're going to have to do that because if Brantley's healthy, it's a positive thing. You get two good bats in the lineup. And if Brantley's not 100% ready for regular season play or even postseason play, then you got your plan B that you went out there at the deadline, you grab somebody. So like you're saying, it's not looking too very good for Astro fans. Hearing that news about the plateau and things like that, the Astros are just gonna have to have a plan B going into that second part of the season before the deadline, really.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate because I know Brantley's a big part of the Astros lineup and in that clubhouse as well. I think he's a leader out
Mm-hmm.
and like in the clubhouse. I know Springer and Brantley had a great connection. I'm sure other guys as well. So it's just uh very unfortunate news for Astros fans. But then again, let's finish out these injuries. News on a high note with Jose Urquidy. He threw 34 pitches in the bullpen Friday and felt fine. He's on track to face hitters in live BP this week. Urquidy would throw today in Houston, but won't face Brantley, Dusty Baker said. Again, I think Urquidy's trending in the right direction. There's a chance we see him maybe a few weeks after the All Star break. Again, pitchers take a little longer. They have to get their arm ready, and he will most likely need a rehab start in Sugarland or in Corpus, wherever that may be. But again, trending in the right direction. Do you have any uh, words for about Urquidy?
Nope, just like you're saying, you just hit the nail on the coffin. Head in the right direction. That's what they need.
Yep. And then we talked about some roster news, and updates. Well, Lorenzo hinted on some roster news and updates, so let's talk about that a little bit more. So on Sunday, Astros recalled left-handed pitcher Parker Mushinski and optioned Ronel Blanco. Ronel Blanco was not going to make a start before the All Star break, so again, it's just to bring up a fresh arm for the rotation. That fresh arm was Brian Belak, who was recalled on Monday, and they optioned out Sean Dubin. So Parker Mushinski, he hasn't really pitched much because he's been hopping around from the major to the minors. So again, just bringing up like a lefty in that bullpen, and Sandoval was demoted to the minors just to give Brandon Belak that start in the major league. So again, one thing to worry about Ronald Blanco and Sean Dubin, I think they both, if if they need to be called back up, they will. I expect Ronald Blanco to be called up after the All Star break, to maybe even be in line for that rotation, just depending how Jose Urquidy's feeling, or even maybe in that bullpen. So so do you think Ronald Blanco goes back to the bullpen once Jose Urquidy comes back, or do you see like the Astros running with a 6-man rotation, or what do you feel on that one?
I think it just depends on the schedule on the 6 man rotation part. If the Astros are going to be playing a lot of games like how they're playing right now from that St. Louis series to right now the Seattle series. I mean, you could see that happening. Um, but if not, I could see him going into the bullpen. Right now, I'm trying to pull up the schedule to see who they're going to be playing after um, the series ends. Really can't open it right now, but I had see some games from. Can't really see it right now, honestly. But
Because
like I was saying, if they have a bunch of games coming up, I can see a 6-man rotation. But if not, I can see Ronel Blanco going to the bullpen. Right now, that bullpen's been taxed a lot. Of course, the All Star break is going to happen, and a lot of the arms are going to be shut down, and break for a little. Maybe just throw a little bit of some live, not live BP, but bullpens in sessions and things like that. Playing catch, whatever it can to just continue to loosen your arm. But I just feel like Ronel Blanco could be a great addition to that bullpen that's already been taxed a lot with a lot of innings this whole season.
yeah, I agree with you 100%. I feel like Jose Urquidy's a veteran, so he'll get that priority in the rotation. That's a no-brainer. And then we'll see Ronald Blanco in the bullpen because I have the schedule right here. So after the All-Star break, they go to Anaheim for 3, have a day off Monday, then 2 in Colorado, 4 in Oakland, and then they come back home to Houston for 3 against the Rangers. So that's that's the way it's seen.
Yeah, maybe it is, maybe it doesn't. It just depends on what Dusty Baker and his staff says about that. But the Astros are back in H-Town, like we were saying, back where Angels living at right now. But they're playing the Colorado Rockies, and of course, Colorado Rockies haven't been playing a great season so far. They're 33-53, last in the NL West, 4-6 in their last 10 games. Think with the Astros, they like to play to the competition. The Astros just cannot do that, especially how with the gap that they did against with the Rangers being 3 games back from first now. You did all that hard work, just don't make it for nothing. And,
Yeah,
just this is a 2-game series against the Rockies. And this, you got to take advantage, even though rookies are going to be on the mound. Well, not rookie being Brandon Bilak, but JP France and Brandon Bilak being that guy that's always being bounced around. The offense are going to have to step up, I think.
yeah. I think it's the midway point, and it's down to like every pitch matters, every game matters, every at bat
Mm-hmm.
matters. This is gonna be the grind of the season.
Definitely. So, I mean, these 2 games are going to be day games, no night games. 3:10 and 1:10. But Tuesday, we'll talk about 3:10 start time. Brandon Bilek is on the mound, 3-4 with a 4.37 ERA versus Kyle Freeland, 4-8, 4.88 ERA, the hometown boy in that lived in Denver, Colorado. Bilek, his last start came on June 17, and it wasn't a pretty, stat against them. Last outing was against Cincinnati. 4 2/3, 5 hits, 5 earned runs, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts. Belak struggled with command a lot, threw 41 pitches in the strike zone and 58 out of the strike zone. So, I mean, the thing with Belak is he's going to give you the innings. He's going to give you the innings. With a team like the Colorado Rockies, too, coming back into the major league play again, I think there's a great opportunity for him to get back into play and get settled down, get a bounce back game from that last start he had in his major league against the Cincinnati Reds. Plus, this offense has to step up for him big time because, of course, like I said, he's going to give you that 5 inning mark right there. Maybe 5, maybe 6. But the hits, he's going to get hit a lot. He gives up to like about 2 or 3 earned runs. Obviously, I had set 5 earned runs against that Cincinnati team, but that Cincinnati team is that Cincinnati team is pretty good
Yeah,
compared to the Colorado Rockies. So, like I said, this is a great opportunity for him to bounce back. Kyle Freeland is going to be the other guy pitching for the Colorado Rockies. His last outing versus the Dodgers, 5 innings, 4 hits, 6 earned runs, 5 walks, 7 strikeouts. His last outing versus Houston, you got to go back to 2020 in the COVID season. It wasn't pretty for him. 6 innings, 7 hits, 2 earned runs, no walks, 5 strikeouts. He take the loss on that one. This season has not been the best of Kyle Freeland's career at all. 5.48 runs scored per 9 innings, his worst since 2019, being 7.33. The month of June, I mean, it's not getting better for him. 0-2 record with a 6.49 ERA, 32 hits allowed, 20 earned runs as well. Worst month he has pitched this year. And then it just gets way worse for him. Not great being away from Coors Field, which is the Rocky Mountains in the background. You got the pine trees and the batter's eye and everything like that. but 1-6 away from Coors Field, 5.92 ERA, and a 2.95 opponent batting average. Angel, I mean, I'm just giving you the stats right there. It sounds like the Astros could do something like that, but how are the Astros offense going to attack Kyle Freeland if they're going to want to be successful?
Yeah, I think Kyle Freeland reminds me of an Adam Wainwright, where he is going to rely on location in order to have success on the pitching mound. He doesn't throw really over 88 miles an hour. I'm looking at stats right now. His sinker's at 88.4, and his four seam fastball's on 88.4 as well. So not too much velocity. So he's gonna try to be perfect and hit the corners, and that costs him sometimes. For example, the sinker, which is the pitch he throws the most, his opponent batting average is 302, which if that's the pitch you throw the most. That's not where you want to be. So I think the Astros are gonna have to take advantages of mistakes, just how they did with Adam Wainwright, and I think they can have success.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and they did a great job against Adam Wainwright. Kyle Freeland, you can actually say he's a veteran as well. Not as how many years that Adam Wainwright has, but I mean, the mile per hour is there. The velocity is just not the same for Kyle Freeland. But
But you know what's
Wednesday, you
crazy though?
got go ahead.
Sorry. You know what's crazy? So last year, Kyle Freeland, his best pitch and the one he threw the most was a four seam fastball, and it was over 90 miles an hour. Now his four seam fastball, his third best pitch is only at 88.4, so a big loss of velocity for that as well.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing with Christian Javier, which we didn't even get to talk about. He's been struggling a
Oh
lot,
yeah,
3 starts in a row. His velocity has gone down. I mean, some players have. I don't think Kyle Freeland pitched in the WBC, did he? I could be
no,
wrong. No, he didn't. Um, there's just different ways you could just lose velocity. He just maybe just didn't have the time to, get his program going. But Wednesday, you got a 1:10 start time. JP France is on the mound for the Astros 3-3 with a 3.13 ERA versus Chase Anderson. That's a veteran name that used to play with the Brewers. 0-3 with a 6.50 ERA. And Mr. JP France, his last outing at St. Louis was phenomenal. 7 innings pitched, 4 hits, 0 earned runs, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. Only his second time in his career that he has thrown 7 innings. Fastball was working for France as he was even hitting 95 miles per hour. So that's pretty good. And not to mention, I mean, this guy had a great month of June. 2.43 ERA, my man. 2-2 record. I mean, that doesn't sound good, but I mean, 2.43 ERA, that is pretty great. 220 opponent batting average with a whip of 1.14. I mean, he's done a great job stepping into being that third role, especially with the injuries from, like I said, with Urquidy, Luis Garcia, Lance McCullers Jr. He's done a phenomenal job stepping in at that right time and showing the Astros organization he deserves to pitch with the big boys. And then, like I said, you got Chase Anderson on the other side with the Rockies. Last outing versus the Dodgers, 3 2/3, 6 hits, 6 earned runs, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts. Last outing versus Houston, he hasn't faced the Astros in a good while. I mean, we're talking about 7 years.
oh wow,
2016 was the last time he faced the Astros. 5 innings, 4 hits, 0 earned runs, 0 walks, 5 strikeouts. That's a great stat right there, but he has not been pitching that stat at all in his last outings. I mean, he has struggled to pitch through 5 innings. June 8th was the last time he pitched through 5. His last 3 starts combined. Okay, this is against Atlanta, the Angels, and the Dodgers. 0-3 with a 9 and third innings pitch, 23 hits, 22 earned runs, 8
Yikes.
walks, 9 strikeouts. So
That's
you could
great.
see he has struggled against good teams like, I mean, the Braves are one of the hottest teams right now. The Angels, I mean, they're still fighting for playoff contention, which playoff contention is not even here yet, but the division, of course. And then the Dodgers are going to beat them in that NL West. And
What is
then
he
last
throwing?
thing I
Beach
got
balls or?
exactly right. And then the last thing I want to say too, right-handed hitters, opponent batting average of 296 with a 369 WOBA, and left-handed hitters 289 opponent batting average 396 WOBA. I
Yikes.
mean, like you said, Angel, this guy might be throwing beach balls to the opposing team. Like I said too, the Astros just can't play to that, that competition. They got to compete and be able to put 10 runs like how they did in the Rangers against Martin Perez, which is a great pitcher. He's been struggling though this year, but got to take advantage of these two games, this short series against the Colorado Rockies before you play your division foe and the ALDS rematch of the Seattle Mariners.
No, yeah, I think how well the Astros offense has played in Arlington, they have a chance to replicate that in this 2 game series. But again, how you were saying, hopefully like, they don't play down to the competition and they take advantage of the mistakes how they have been doing. But that is enough for the preview of the starting matchups. Now it's time for our MVPs and hot takes. So Altuve hit a home run. What do you think? That was my last. That was my last
I mean,
week.
he hit two. You got to give it to him.
All right,
I'll give
let's
it to
do
him.
it. All right, let's
You
do
got to
it.
give it to him.
Valdez didn't pitch, and then Astros scored more runs than the Rangers, which it happened.
Did they?
Yeah, I think so.
All right,
Until-
you go with your new ones. I got to check. You know me. I got to check your
I'm
hot
just doing
takes
that.
almost all the time.
I I told myself to check, and then I forgot. So I'm doing the eye
I
test. I think
got
they
you.
did, but my new ones
I got
is
you.
Kyle Tucker. Again, how you saw on our Twitter and on our Instagram, he was yesterday's player of the game. I say he keeps it rolling against Colorado. And just how you said, 289 opponents batting average against Chase Anderson, and Kyle Freeland hasn't been doing so well, so he has a chance to hit the King's Court yet again. And for for my pitching MVP is gonna be Brandon Bilek. He's fresh. He didn't pitch in AAA, and I think he can go 6 strong this time around. And then my hot take is Astros will outpitch the Rockies this series. Again, you have JP France, who's coming out uh, maybe out of his best outing yet, and Brandon Bilek, who has been kind of shaky. So that is the reason for that hot take.
Yep, and you got it right. They scored 24
Of
runs. The
course, I
Rangers
just to give
scored
it the eye test.
22
That's it.
runs. But yeah, I mean, them are great picks. Of course, with the pitching MVPs, we only got a limit being two. So I'm pretty sure everybody's gonna know when mine's coming up. But going to my old one, I mean, Kyle Tucker. I mean, I think
Yeah.
that's up there. Ronel Blanco, what do you think? I mean, I think he pitched pretty decent. I don't think he pitched a bad game. He kept the guys in it. So I don't know. What do you think? I'd give it a flag up. I don't know.
Do it. That's fine. Yeah,
Let's
take your
do it.
pick.
2-2, and then the Astros will take 3 in Arlington. 3 for 3. 3 for 3. Again, dude. I mean, I'm on fire right now. I am on fire with these offensive pitching and hot takes. But it's a new week. Everybody's back in H-Town, Houston, homestand before the All-Star break. Let's do it. Jose Abreu is my offensive MVP. I think he did really great out there, not just in St. Louis, but even in Texas as well. I think that's going to carry on to Minute Maid Park. Maybe we get to see a bomb in the Crawford boxes because he has been hitting them in the gaps. He's been hitting them in the line and even to the second deck, which maybe he can visit Bobby Dynamite up there with the ball, giving him a little souvenir. So I got Jose Abreu being my offensive MVP. JP France, of course. I can't bet against the stash. I mean, I don't got a big stash like him, but I mean, this guy does a great job. Hopefully, he has a great month of July, and this is going to be the start right here against a struggling team being the Colorado Rockies. I think this is a good opportunity for him. So I'll go with him in my pitching MVP. And my hot take, I'm just keep it simple. I think the Astros sweep the Rockies. 2 game series, 2 games right there. I think it's a little mini sweep.
Okay. Yeah. I think those are really good picks. Now it's time for the over and under. Do you want to handle these right here?
I got you. Yeah. So our score being 6-8. Framber Valdez, we canceled that one out since he didn't pitch. Christian Javier did 2 earned runs being the over under. I believe I had the over, you had the under on that one. Astros team home runs, we both hit over with that. And the bullpen strikeouts this series, I had under 12, and you had over, which at the end of the day, it was 18. So the new score being, Angel, you're coming back a little, dude. 6-8. You have 6, I have 8. So here's the new ones coming out. We have Brandon Bilek pitching over 6 innings. He has only pitched over 6 innings so far this season. Are we going with over? Or are we going with the under?
I'm gonna go with over. If there's a time where he can go over 6 innings, this is a series to do it. I
I
think
think
so.
so too. I mean, this is the opportunity right here, like you were saying, against a team like I was saying too. I mean that's been struggling not just this series, but the whole season. I mean, right in last place right now in the NL West. There's a great opportunity for him to bounce back from that Cincinnati start that he had and go over 6 and possibly 7. We could see. We can hopefully the Astros give him that. The offense gives him that boost. Next one being Jose Abreu has over 3 hits this series. He had 6 hits against the Rangers, being that 4 game series, and then he only had a he only has a 2 game series right here being against Colorado. So, do you think there's going to be over 3, or you're riding the under being right here?
I'm gonna say over 3. The way you described Colorado's pitching is not that great. So even though it's only a 2 game series, I think he can get over 3 hits.
Definitely. I got to go over since he's my offensive MVP. And like I said, too, I mean, he's been hitting really well from the. You can even go back to the Dodgers series when he hit that home run. I mean, St. Louis, he did great. I mean, this guy is figuring it out, and it's good at the right time that the Astros need him, especially with the Alvarez being out, and just wait until Alvarez gets back. It's just going to get way better for this Astros offensive lineup. It's just going to help them continue on being better. Okay, so next one being the Astros will score more than 9 runs this series. 9 runs.
Two
That's
games.
a good number. In 2 games. Texas being 24 runs, St. Louis being 26, Dodgers being 15. Angel, where we're going? 9, over, under.
You know what? Over. Gonna go over. Again, it's kind of tricky because there's only 2 games. So, and given the Astros how to play the competition, it could be like a 2-1 game and then a three
Yeah,
two game. But you know what? Let's do the over.
I agree. I mean, I read the pitching stats. The bullpen hasn't been fair for them either. This is it right here. I mean, you got to go over 9 runs. If you go 7-2, and that's still good. 7 or 3, barely. I'll take it as well. But I mean, the Astros' offensive juggernaut that it was the other day against the Rangers. I mean, they scored like I was saying, 24 runs and 26 over there in St. Louis. There's a great possibility we could see over 15 this 2 game series. But I like going on the safe route and going over 9 runs. And then last but not least, there's only 2 games, like we're saying. Starting pitching has more than 10 strikeouts this series. Are we going over or are we going under with these guys?
You know what? I'm gonna go under with this one. JP France is not really a big strikeout guy. Um, I think he only had 2 strikeouts his last outing, and then Belak again, not really a big strikeout guy, so go with the under.
Man, I mean, I agree. I do agree that you got to go under. But
Oh
I'm going
man,
over. I'm
okay.
going over. I got to call it right now. Yeah, I mean, he hasn't had a big strikeout. JP France hasn't had a big strikeout game in a while. I mean, his last game that he had 6 strikeouts, he got to go back to June 10th. So, I mean, and then he had 2 8 strikeout games too, but that's back in like early June. So, maybe we could see an 8 strikeout performance from him, and then Brandon Belak too. You can't sleep on him. He's been doing a great job holding it down. Of course, whenever he can, he gives you at least a good 5 strikeouts, maybe 4. I'll go over on this one actually.
Okay. I mean, I like it. I like it, and then
I roll the dice.
I like it more when I'm just 1 game back. So for you, so I just fun that. But moving on to
Hold
around
on,
the
hold on, hold on.
league. Go
One
ahead.
more
Go ahead.
thing before we
Go ahead. Go
start.
ahead.
Got to give my fantasy update. Since you always give a fantasy update,
Oh
I got to
yeah.
give my fantasy
I don't want to
update.
hear about this.
I got to tell them I beat my man this time. This go around. We got one more matchup. This time was the best for me, but
I think
next matchup,
I think we're 1-1, right?
I don't know. I think that was our first time facing
Oh,
each
okay.
other in fantasy baseball. So the next one, I'm pretty sure it's going to be a dogfight. It's going to get close to playoffs. I think. I think if I remember correctly, being in that playoff bracket. But I just had to throw my little fantasy update out there, like you always do.
Man, this is my pitching on that one. I think Javier -8,
Yeah,
Urias negative something, and it's just from there. The offense was good. It's just pitching for me. But yeah, Lorenzo got the best of me. I think you're the third seed. I'm the fourth seed. So or you may be the second seed actually. But right now we're both looking
Second.
like we're heading to the playoffs. So that'll be interesting. But moving on to around the league, the All Star reserves have been revealed. There's a lot of guys and a lot of great guys that are going. I think they're all worthy um, of an All Star bound berth, whatever you like want to call it, bid. I lost the word. So for the National League is Zach Allen from the Arizona Diamondbacks, Bryce Elder, Spencer Strider, Justin Steele, Marcus Stroman, Clayton Kershaw, Mitch Keller, Josiah Gray, Alexis Diaz, Devin Williams, Josh Hader, Camilo Doval, Lourdes Guerrero Jr., which is his first, Jorge Soler, Nick Castellanos, Juan Soto, Austin Riley, Matt Olson, Ozzy Albies, Dansby Swanson, Elias Diaz, Will Smith, and Pete Alonso. For the National League, the Braves are sending 8 people to the Midsummer Classic, which is the most in baseball. And it's been their most since, like, I think they became a franchise in 1966, something like that. So,
Hmm.
um, again, they will deserve. They're hot right now. I think they won 9 in a row. I put them first on the power rankings for our Esquina. I think they've dethroned the Rays as the best team in baseball right now, and they're just
Hmm.
on a different level. Like again, they won it in 2021. Now that they're showing they can possibly do it again, it could be like a little Giants thing where it's every odd number. But like that Braves team has been great, and a lot of firsts. I know Elias Diaz had his first All Star game. We'll see him tomorrow. Um, he played for Colorado. Lourdes Gurriel, Lapina Jr. made his first as well. So like a lot of well-deserving
Camilo
players.
Duvall, yeah.
Yeah, Camilo Duval's been lights out too in the back end of the bullpen. Now the American League, we have Michael Lorenzen. I believe that's his first as well. Framber Valdez, Sonny Gray, Gary Cole, Luis Castillo, Shane McClanahan, Nathan Eovaldi, Kevin Gausman, Felix Bautista, Yenir Cano. That Orioles back end of the bullpen.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of Cano, he gave the Yankees a chance today. Kenley
Yes.
Jansen, Emmanuel Clase, Austin Hayes, Luis Robert killed me in fantasy as well. Jordan Alvarez, Brent Rooker, Dolis Garcia, Adley Rutchinson, Jose Ramirez, Salvador Perez, Bo Bichette, Vlad, and Whit Merrifield. Now, you know who was already voted in. We announced that. Now you know the reserves. So who got snubbed?
I got to go with Wander Franco. I
Ah,
think
yeah.
he had a great. I mean, he's had a great first half. He's one of the top guys in shortstops for WAR right now too. I think he would have had a great shot, really being in that reserves role. But of course, it happens. I mean, of course, you got the writers, you got the write-ins as well from the players and from all the teams. I think Wander Franco could have been a great addition into that infield reserves. I'd got to go with that one being my number one getting snubbed. And then starting wise too, I got to go with Matt Olson. I think Matt Olson deserves to start over Freddie Freeman. Nothing against Freddie Freeman as well, being that's pretty cool. One used to be a Brave, now the other one's the Brave. But Matt Olson's he's
Mhm.
really had an MVP season, dude. I mean, you cannot take away of that. I mean, he's had a great season. I really honestly feel like he deserves. I mean, what he's on top of MLB with home runs, I believe, and then RBIs as well. I think he could have really bid for a starting position than the reserves. So I guess two kind of snubs, one being the start and one being off the ballot.
For me, I would say Cedric Mullins. I know Aaron Judge got in and he's hurt. Jordan Alvarez got in and he's hurt. But Cedric Mullins, before that injury, he was having a great season, leading the Baltimore Orioles, and be just being a leader in that locker room for the Orioles. So I think Cedric Mullins for me. I can't remember the stats at the top of my head, but that's my person. He got snubbed. And then it can be an All Star game without the home run derby, and Polar Bear is back, and we have a newcomer that's also joining. So Pete Alonso and Adley Rushman are joining the Home Run Derby squad, joining Julio Rodriguez, Randy Rosarena, Mookie Betts, and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. So Alonso hasn't participated since winning the 2021 Home Run Derby. I think he has three, right? No, I'm not mistaken. He has three Home Run Derbies.
I'm trying to think as well. I know for sure he has two. One being
Mm-hmm.
Colorado and then the other one being Cleveland.
Or it might be just two.
It could be two.
But who are you wanting to see? Because there's two spots remaining. So who are you wanting to see in this Home Run Derby?
I think Acuna could do it too. Honestly, if we see Randy Arozarena, which Randy Arozarena has been practicing already for the home run derby and batting practice, I'm really curious to see if he's going to wear cowboy boots. That would be
I,
so cool
that'd be
if he
cool though.
wears cowboy boots during the home run derby. I'll go with one being Ronald Acuna Jr. and then the second one, if I had to pick an American League player, man, I mean, I'm kind of maybe Raffy. I like to see Rafael Devers. Give me a lefty in that in the home run derby. I mean, do we even? There's not even one lefty in the home run derby. Oh, well, Ali Rutschman, isn't he a switcher though?
He's a switch hitter, yeah.
Oh, well, it depends what he prefers. It could be a lefty or righty, but give me a full lefty being Rafael Devers. I want to see Raffy out there.
You
Raffy
know
big
what?
scoops.
Here's a here's a lefty for you with raw power. Daniel Vogelbeck from the Mets. I think he'll be. He'll be. I
That's
think
a
he'll put
big
on a
one.
show. Yeah, I think he'll put on a show in the home run derby. That'd be pretty cool to see. And the AL. You know what? Who I think will be pretty successful? Luis Robert. I think he'll be pretty successful. I think
Dude, he's been hitting the long ball a lot.
yeah. I think he'll be pretty fun to see. And then especially without those young guys like Julio Rodriguez, Randy Rosarena, I think he'll put on a great show with them too.
Honorable mention, Eloy Jimenez. So I'd like to put him in there too. I think Eloy, if he's not hurt, honestly, I think he'd be a good guy to because he has raw power, dude. I mean, just flick of the wrist and that ball's already going to the gap.
Yeah. And then Ronald Acuna, again, we spoke about him possibly, Lorenzo wants to see him in the home run derby. We talked about how the Braves lead the baseball with 8 All-Stars, and Ronald Acuna made a great case for the All-Stars. Now he's making a case for the NL MVP. He's the only player in AL and NL history with 20 home runs, 40 plus stolen bases, and 50 plus RBIs before the All-Star break. That like
It's
especially
pretty
with these
good.
expanded yeah, especially with these expanded bases. We talked about a 40-40 guy, 30-30 guy, and Ronald Acuna is looking like that 40-40 guy. We can stay healthy in the second part of the season. So, Lorenzo, who are your early predictions for MVP um, this season?
For American League and National
Yeah,
League. Okay, so National League, I mean, I'm gonna go with Acuna. There's really there's really no other runner up right now. If you could have maybe a close finalist, I mean, I can't even think of a close finalist. I know
maybe Matt Olson.
for
You were saying,
Matt Olson and then Corbin Carroll, I could see too.
yeah,
Corbin Carroll's had a great season. I think he suffered an injury too. Hopefully, nothing really serious. But I mean, them other two guys. I mean, they've had a great season so far to be in the first half. But Acuna, I can see National League and American League. I'm gonna give it to Otani. You cannot see a guy doing this ever since we haven't seen this since Babe Ruth, dude, and for sure we've never seen Babe Ruth play. But Otani just doing the pitching side and just hitting bombs and keeping the Angels in contention for the division and trying to keep their playoff, hopes alive when it comes down to that stretch. You got to give it to him. Like I said, first $600 million man that's going to be there to sign that contract. I don't know where, but I see them two winning the MVP for their respective league. Give me yours.
ditto. Yeah, I think those are the same two for me. I think right now baseball dominated by the Otani, and right now Acuna. I think some guys can make a strong case, like you're saying Corbin Carroll. I'm trying to think of an American League who could be close to Shohei Otani, but
Man, honestly, it was Aaron Judge and it was Jordan
Alvarez.
Alvarez.
Yeah.
But them two being hurt is just a clear landslide for Otani to be the guy because I mean, who else do you think could be the American League MVP right now? I mean, Jose Ramirez, you can maybe put him as a case
Yeah.
for an MVP, but right
Other
now
than
it's
that, I mean,
Otani.
yeah.
It's just
No,
him.
and that's the unfortunate part of injuries because they were saying Jordan Alvarez was having an MVP like season. I think he was on track to have like a 40-100 40 home run RBI season, but
And then add to that too, the Astros. I don't know if it's Bregman or Tucker. One of them are tied with him for RBIs. right now this season.
It's Tucker.
And okay, so Alvarez has been out for what, a good 2, 3, possibly 4 weeks already,
Hmm.
and they're barely catching up to him. So that's how you know of a big impact, not just for him being in the Astros lineup, but for
Yeah,
him possibly winning that first MVP he could ever win in his career.
yeah. 'Cause I
Another
think
thing I
Bregman
wanted,
has. Go ahead.
no, go ahead before I talk
Yes,
about
I'll
something
say.
else.
Bregman has 54. Tucker has 55. That's what I would say.
Yeah. So, and another thing I wanted to mention too. I mean, the stolen bases right now, it's looking very good for Major League Baseball. I really agreed with the bigger bases, and Ysteria Ruiz being 42 right now in the season. I mean, Acuna, what did Acuna, you just
40.
said Acuna got to
He has
40?
40. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. I mean, there's a great possibility that you could see Ruiz over 70. I think
You know
it could
what?
possibly be 80. Honestly.
I think he hits 80. I'm calling it.
I think so too. He could really, if being realistic, I really think he could hit 80 as well.
Yeah. I mean, I think Acuna and him can hit 80. If you're thinking about it.
I'd rather be safe with Acuna now because I mean they're pushing for the playoffs. You got Esterio Ruiz just maybe trying to make a little milestone for himself. But that is all for our show. I mean, it was a little longer than we expected, but hey, we love talking to y'all. We love talking about baseball, especially Astros baseball. Continue to follow us on our podcast platforms: Google, Spotify, Apple. Follow us at Full Steam Ahead on Twitter and on TikTok. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Still getting new out there, trying to build up them subscribers, trying to make a little fun out there as well. Of course, you get to see these videos that we're talking live, and of course our new Instagram. We just had a giveaway going out, and I'll shout that person out in a minute. But Angel, do you have anything else before we sign off?
No, thank you for listening. I hope you're vibing with us because, again, how Lorenzo says is we like talking about Astros baseball and around the league. And just like I said, in the near future, we will have some big things coming.
Yes, big things coming. And like I said, I was going to announce the winner right now, which we already had announced on Twitter. But appreciate everybody that was joining and building up our Instagram as much as y'all can. We'll throw a giveaway on Instagram later on. But shout out to Sheila Alessandria. Congrats to you winning that Breggy Bomb bobblehead, and of course the little goodies that we'll send out there as well. But happy 4th of July. Have a great and safe day out there. If you're doing firecrackers, be safe out there. Like I said, I got my USA hat on. What the other side? The American flag. And happy Independence Day, basically. But we will give you the recap of the Colorado Rockies series, and we will talk to y'all after that and give you that last preview before the Astros head to the Midsummer Classic. We will talk to y'all guys later. See ya.
Peace.